What's up, everyone? Welcome to the New Year's edition of the All49ers Roundtable. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Crystal Scuor, Maverick Pallack, Leo Luna, and Big Face Kev, who's never been on the show but has been in the chat section of all of them, so you basically know him. Kev introduced me to Chrissy, so Kev's an OG. I'm glad he's on the show, but before we get started, before Kev says a word, you guys got to know that this is Leo's final show. He has been promoted. He got a new job at a new gig called 49ers Gold Mine, and he's the managing editor. So congratulations, Leo. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
And if you could tell us a little bit about what 49ers Gold Mine is it a website? I'm sure people would love to know.
Yeah. So it's just a bunch of great personalities coming together to create a website. So we're going to have our own columns. We're going to have a bunch of podcasts on there. So you probably heard some of them. The Fourth and Gold, Blow the Whistle, the Sprint Right Option podcast. So a bunch of us, 49er Twitter personalities, we're coming together and we're going to just create a bad ASS website, basically.
Nice. Thank you for watching your language on my YouTube channel because this
I thought you could say ass, though. You said we could say ass.
That's true. I guess you can. But Leo keeps it clean. All right, let's get right into it. Enough of Leo. Leo, congratulations. But, I mean, you just have so many good things going on. I don't want to talk about you the whole time. Let's talk about the Niners, who had a much worse year than Leo. What is the Niners' biggest excuse of 2020? Chrissy, you want to start us with this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty evident one. The injury bug has been the biggest excuse of 2020. I mean, to be fair, they have been completely injured, and it's been ridiculous. There's like 48 players that got a starting chance this year, which is crazy. So I would definitely say the injury bug. But then I also look back and I'm like, okay, the turf situation, when you look at MetLife Stadium, there was this whole, playing on turf. The field wasn't ready. The players weren't ready to play on a field like that. That's been definitely a big excuse too. But I think even just blaming everything on the quarterback or lack of quarterback as well, that's been something that I've seen a lot on Twitter. And everybody's seeming to blame Jimmy Garoppolo for being injured. And that's why the other quarterbacks failed to do so well. So I think a quarterback issue in general has just been such an excuse for the entire fan base, for even the team.
I'm going to go with just this team was so much different than last year's team. It was built through the run, and I think without Raheem Mostert for a good part of the year, without Jeff Wilson for a good part of the year, Jerick McKinnon and Tevin Coleman not being what they were signed to be, that hurt. And then also the three defensive linemen that had to be good. One hasn't played since week 2. One didn't show up till week 15, and the other one was a rookie and didn't get a mini camp. So that was a lot to ask for the defensive line, and it just didn't work out this year.
I'm going to say the lack of quarterback play that was with the 49ers in 2020 because, the injuries, it definitely hurt. Not having Nick Bosa on the field definitely hurt. But it's when you have Nick Mullins throwing a couple interceptions a game, Jimmy Garoppolo not being 100%, looking really bad this year as well. So it's just the quarterback play. This team could have been a playoff team. They're right now 3-2 in one of the toughest divisions in the NFL. If they somehow come out with a win on Sunday, then they're looking at 4-2. If they just had a better quarterback play, this season possibly could have snuck into a 7th or a 6th seed.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to say, first of all, I'm socially distanced, like Mike McGlinchey on a pass block. Everyone wear your mask. And I'd say the biggest disappointment, the biggest excuse would be Dr. Anthony Fauci not being able to solve the high ankle sprain. So that's where we're at.
There's been 18,000 high ankle sprains on the 49ers this year alone.
Yeah, and I kept that short, so on to you.
No, I like that. Yeah, the high ankle sprain in general has been the Niners' biggest excuse. They got to get new cleats or something. What is the Niners' biggest excuse of 2020? I mean, obviously it's the injuries, but the way I look at it is like it started before Jimmy Garoppolo went down. He stunk week 1. And the problem was Deebo Samuel broke his foot in June.
Chrissy. Okay.
Deebo broke his foot in June and never got right. And George Kittle injured his knee like in the first quarter of the first game and had a very underwhelming season. And those are the Niners' 2 best players on offense. You can say what you want about Nick Bosa and DeForest Buckner and all the people that were gone on the defense. The defense did its job this year. The defense was not – they didn't need any excuses. The offense needed every excuse it got, and I would say that Kittle and Deebo having pretty much non-existent seasons are big ones. I don't know what we would expect from Jimmy Garoppolo without those two guys. So let's move on. Robbie Gould got an extension. What does that mean about 2021? Let's start with you, Kev.
Well, I think that obviously means that it's a go for it type season, right? They're not going to be paying all that kind of money to a kicker if they're not going to, think Super Bowl, which they should. And I think that means that Jimmy G is back too. So I also think that means that we better get the caution tape out and put it around Raheem Mostert's ankle if we're going to get there.
Oh my goodness, he got the caution tape out. Leo, you got to top that.
Yeah, he's even has it on his head. I didn't.
Leo can top it because he can talk without moving his lips. I like that about you, Leo. Keep going.
Ventriloquism, man.
It's great.
Oh my God, I'm doing it
keep it
again.
quick,
I didn't
though.
realize it. But I think it just says that they weren't going to pick up
Not
his
water.
option, and they wanted to save some money, even if it was the little under $2.5 million that it was. They wanted to save that cap salary, so they worked out a deal, and they just didn't want to play basically musical chairs at that kicker position. We've seen how it affected other teams losing games. Robbie Gould hasn't missed a game winner as a 49er kicker, so that's just what it means.
Okay. Maverick.
Yeah, I mean, this whole week on Twitter talking about if they should replace Gould after the last week. It's hard to find a kicker that so I'm talking and Leo's talking.
It's killing me.
Yeah, so Gould's been solid for the 49ers. They could move on, but then like Leo said, they would have to play musical chairs. It's not a guarantee the next guy they sign is any better. So if they are comfortable with Gould, and I think Shanahan definitely is, that's the way to go.
Read the tea leaves here. What do you see?
The faces are getting big. Oh, cool.
Okay, so I think that it just says that Robbie Gould gets better. Like, he's like a fine wine, he gets better with age. He's also been one of the most consistent players. I mean, you look at, again, I'm bringing up the injuries, but you look at our team this past season, and the injuries have just riddled everybody, but not Robbie Gould. And I feel that he's somebody that they can rely on. That, I mean, look at last game, like, he did miss those 2 field goals. That was not great. Extra point as well. But as a whole, I think he's been a player that has been the most consistent for us on the field. So I just think that it means that they believe in him, and they think he's not ready to go down just yet.
They certainly believe in him. And I don't know what it is, but certain players get the benefit of the doubt, like him and Mike McGlinchey, and other players just go straight to the doghouse. And I don't know, those three missed field goals might have sent someone else to the doghouse, but not Robbie Gould, because he's in the inner sanctum of 49ers. I'm with Kev on this one. I think this means that they see themselves as not taking any step back next year. If they saw that, if they thought that they were going to be starting a rookie quarterback next year, would you have to have Robbie Gould? I don't know. So I think that's a good segue into the next topic. Should the 49ers keep Jimmy Garoppolo for 2021? I mean, they currently pick 15th. They may bump up a little bit if they lose to Seattle, but they're not exactly in position to draft any quote unquote franchise quarterback. Given the lay of the land and where they're at with picks and cap space, is Jimmy the best option in 2021? Chrissy.
I mean, okay, I know everybody's saying that we got to draft Wonder Boy Zach Wilson, but with what you just said, I don't know if that's even going to be an option. And even if they were to draft a quarterback that could come up and fill in and take that position eventually, I still think that Jimmy Garoppolo will be the guy that needs to maybe show them the ropes a little bit, because at the end of the day, his injuries got in the way of how he was going to play this season. We didn't see what we potentially could have seen from him in the first game because, again, we talked about this before, the mentals coming off of the Super Bowl loss. But I do think that he's going to come back with a vengeance. Like, I know this whole revenge tour thing wasn't a thing, but for Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it's either do or die for him now. So he will be the best option, and he'll have to perform or he's going to be gone.
Maverick.
I've talked myself out of the availability of every single quarterback next year. So as of right now, Jimmy is the leading candidate from the last 24 hours as I've been thinking of this. But I think there will be some guys available. I do like Jimmy. I just think it's time for Shanahan and him to move apart, and they'll free up a lot of cap space if they go a different direction.
Oh, breakup.
Leo disappeared. He may come back. What do you think, Kev?
Well, what do I think? Well, I'm a stats guy. I like to go by numbers. And when I think about the replacements, like Matt Stafford, his face is much fatter than Jimmy's. And Jimmy's got that granite jaw. You can't argue with that. So I think we're going to have Jimmy back, and I think that's a good move. We just got to get Mike McGlinchey to protect that right side, because I think the next Sada baby collab is going to be Mike McGlinchey. A whole lot of not blocking going on.
Hold on. Let's get Leo back. All right, Leo.
I'm going to turn off my camera here because I feel
Okay,
like it's
fair enough.
a lot
That
better. Maybe I should have a different picture than Boza, but I decided to fanboy out.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Is he the best option, or should they keep him? Okay, so should they keep him for 2021? I mean, if he's the best option, yeah, they should. But if they have an offer out on the table for Matthew Stafford where they don't have to give up a first, or they don't have to give up essentially this top 15 first-round pick, then yeah, I think they should take that option because Matthew Stafford's a whole lot better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. Just look at the pass chart. What Jimmy Garoppolo's doing, a rookie could do it in the NFL. And if you have a rookie like Trey Lance, that allows some mobility to where you could do RPO, some read options. So it just expands the playbook. And I should they keep him? Sure. If nothing is on the table that they can take, sure, go ahead and keep him. But if there's something there that you decide to not do, then I don't think they should just roll with him and say, let's run it back. I don't think that's what they should do.
I'm over Jimmy. He can go. He might be fine, but I'm over Jimmy. I think let him go. But he's, the problem with Jimmy, though, is I think Kyle Shanahan feels the same way. I think he's tired of Jimmy and would love to move on. But it's like, I can see from his perspective, all right, I actually pull the trigger and get rid of him, and my starter next year's Trubisky or a rookie, and we don't win. Like, all of a sudden, I put myself on the hot seat because I got rid of a guy with a winning record and I couldn't replace it because I thought that I could, because I thought I was the star and it turned out it was Jimmy. So I could see the Niners wanting to get rid of Jimmy and fantasizing about it, but ultimately chickening out and not doing it and bringing him back one more year. I don't know that they'll renegotiate his contract or extend it because I still think they have even bigger questions this year than they had last year. But I'm starting to think that maybe he might come back because it's like, what's the alternative? Start Kyle Trask next year after last night? Yeah, I'm sure the Niner fans are going to love that. Hey, guys, check out Kyle Trask against Oklahoma and see your next. No, it's not that. You can't sell that. And then even Trey Lance, the guy has like 208 completions since high school in 1AA. Like, he's really going to replace Jimmy next year? I don't think so. So, yeah, I think as much as we want to replace Jimmy, except for Maverick and maybe Chrissy, I think he might be coming back. So we got that to look forward to in 2021.
Yeah, I would say they should keep Jimmy if they can't get a viable option as far as a veteran. You can't just go into next season with only a rookie.
And it may not be not a viable option. What were you going to say, Kev?
I just wanted to point out that you said fantasizing about Jimmy. You did
fantasizing. I did say that. That was bad. Pause. Sorry.
With that, I'll
let's stick with Jimmy here. I got a moral question. This dude is not playing this weekend, and they say he's still at a danger to hurt himself or whatever, and that's true probably. So my question is, do you judge him for not playing in this game the way that Kittle is, or do you give him a pass because of what the team and the doctors have said about his ankle? Kev, you start us off.
Yeah, I can. The reason he's not playing is because for Christmas, I got him a subscription to Pornhub, and I asked him to really look at the film and get better because you can't just take the toss-off route when the stick route is open.
That's true.
So he's reviewing film and getting better, and who can blame the guy?
That's true. There you go, Leo.
But to be honest, there's no benefit in playing BA11, Jimmy G, any of these guys because if they get broke off, like what's the point? So.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do.
That's why I told Kittle to just practice a little hard out, but he tried to spite me. I hope he makes it through the next game. Leo, what do you think?
There he goes. Now I got my face in there.
Oh, it's a face it is.
I know, right? Thank you. But I don't judge him for not playing because he was basically he's a trade asset at the moment. The 49ers don't know what they're going to do at the quarterback position. Shanahan hasn't had time to review Stafford. He hasn't had time to review rookies. He's focused strictly on this season and winning on Sunday. So do I blame him or judge him? It's a business decision, and that's how the NFL is. George Kittle, he was going to be with this team in 2021, so that's why he's out there.
I think another big issue is the offensive line hasn't been as great, and if there are questions about Jimmy coming back, and he already is not 100%. We saw what he did when he wasn't 100% against Miami, and that was not the prettiest game. So I think that would only tank his value and would honestly, if the Niners were interested in bringing him back, hurt that relationship as well if they don't have the best offensive line. But also, like Leo said, business decision. How come it's fine when a business decision is done by a team and they cut a player or trade a player, but when a player wants to do a business decision, it's the end of the world. I'm totally fine with if Jimmy's not 100% not playing.
Hey, good point. Chrissy, what do you think? What, Kev?
Might be a team business decision too. They might be sitting him, because they're keeping him.
Possible. What do you think, Chrissy? Do you judge him for not fighting to come back?
Okay, well, I don't think I judge Jimmy Garoppolo for anything at all. Like, I know you guys have probably noticed I'm a big Jimmy G stan, but no, I mean, if he gets in there and has a horrible game, he'll be destroyed on Twitter. He'll be destroyed by all the media outlets. It'll just be something that he'll carry with him going into next season, regardless whether he's going to come back with the 49ers or not. I think it's just, if he has a poor game in this last game that literally means nothing, it will truly affect him going forward. And I don't think it's a good thing for his mentals. Like, if anything, he needs to sit there, take some more notes, not get behind an offensive line like Mike McGlinchey that's not going to protect him and maybe hurt another ankle. Like, we don't need that anymore. So I don't judge him. I mean, it would be nice to have that fire that Kittle has for sure inside of him, because I think that's what you want to see in a quarterback. But like Leo, what he said, I feel like it is a business decision at the end of the day, and he needs to protect himself moving forward.
You guys make good points. The way I look at it is he shouldn't play. The Niners are making the right decision not to play Jimmy Garoppolo, I guess, because the games don't matter or whatever. But he should want to play. He's a football player. Kittle wants to play. It's not Jimmy's job to say, guys, hold me out. You need me for next year. Think about no. It's your job, Jimmy, to go up to Kyle and say, I'm ready, play me. I'm ready, play me. It's not fair to hold me out when everyone else is playing through injury. That's what Kittle did. Kittle said, I'm 100%. How could you ask me why am I more important than everyone else? I got to be out there. CJ needs me. Everyone needs me. McGlinchey needs me. And he got back on the field in games that don't matter. I'm not saying that Jimmy hasn't done that, but I haven't heard that he has. And he should. Brett Favre would. I mean, Steve Young would. Most of these quarterbacks, like, the idea of missing any games for any reason is unheard of. Tom Brady always acts like he's going to get his job taken. He hasn't missed a game due to injury since 2008. I do judge Jimmy Garoppolo for not playing in this game. If I heard that he wanted to play and the Niners said, no, you can't, I wouldn't judge him, but I haven't heard that. I judge him. Jimmy, I'm judging.
Tom Brady looks like Skeletor lately. Have you guys noticed that? I saw his face the other day.
He's awesome. Yeah. So I don't know if Jimmy's ever going to be able to recover from my judgment. I mean, he's crying right now because he's watching this show.
And his hair loss.
He's not
Take that, Jimmy. All right. What is the key to the Niners beating Seattle, which is not going to happen? Although it might. Chrissy, what do you think?
Well, I mean, Nick Mullins isn't on the field, so I think that's one of the keys. Mike McGlinchey needs to protect the quarterback, and he needs to pretend that it's his mom out there. And, we need to have an offensive line that actually wants to be out there and wants to protect what they've got going on. I think that's one of the keys. I also think shutting down somebody like DK Metcalf, because that guy is a monster. The defense needs to step up like they have been the last couple weeks, and I don't think that's unheard of, because I think that they're going to want to play really hard in case, Robert Saleh, it might be his last game with the 49ers. You never know. So I do think that as long as the D can play really well and they can shut down Russell Wilson, maybe make him look like Nick Mullins with some interceptions, then I think we might be able to squeak by, but I don't think it's going to be by much.
I think if they do win, it would be because Jeff Wilson Jr. has a similar game to last week, as well as the interior pass rush has a good game. The Rams sacked Seattle 5 times last week. 3 of them were from defensive tackles, and then 2 from Leonard Floyd on the edge. So Kerry Hyder on the edge and Eric Armstead on the inside can have games or if Armstead can play better than he has all year, that'd be huge. So I think that would be the way they would win. I'm not saying they do win, but that would be the way.
If this were around the horn, I would have gave you 3 points for that answer because you came prepared with stats. See, Maverick would be winning these shows if we were keeping score, but we're not. So sorry, Maverick. You get no points for that. It was a good answer.
I would say the time of the possession. You got to keep Russell Wilson on this. I almost said Russell Westbrook. You got to keep Wilson on the sideline there. You
got to keep Westbrook on the sideline too. You don't want Westbrook on the field.
Triple double.
He's a two-way threat.
you got to play that way because CJ Beathard's not going to outduel Russell Wilson if Wilson has those opportunities to put up points.
Hater.
This
What has CJ done to you?
He's made me watch him for 60 minutes. But he's not going to overcome that. The 49ers defense, it's going to be really hard to hold Russell Wilson all game long. They shut him out basically 2 halves last season, in the first half of the first game and then in the first half of the second game. They could possibly do it again because the defense is still top 5, but to say they're going to do it all 4 quarters with the lack of pass rush, no Nick Bosa, no D Ford, it's just basically you're looking at 20 points given up by the defense this game minimum. So you need to have Russell Wilson on that sideline as much as possible.
I hear it. Okay, Kev, what do you think?
Well, let me tell you, you should not have asked this question because here's the answer you're going to get, and I'm going to get points for this one. If we're going to beat the Seahawks, here's what's going to happen. Future and Sierra are going to get in a fight. Russell Wilson has to stay home and cook French toast for the kids, and they run the backup quarterback. That's the only way we're going to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Mullins has beaten Russell Wilson. Maybe CJ Beathard could, but no, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I mean, okay, so what would have to happen is the Niners would first have to have an answer for DK Metcalf, which they didn't have last game. Maybe they will. Maybe little Jason Verrett, 5'9", all of him is going to go up against 6'3" DK Metcalf and shut him down, possibly. But even if they did that, I mean, I don't expect Jeff Wilson Jr. to have a great game. I mean, Seattle's defense actually has been pretty good the last month since they got Carlos Dunlap and Jamal Adams been playing well. So I think CJ is going to have like a real good game. He's going to have to drop back and make plays, and that's never going to happen. So he needs to do is just keep 2 hands on the ball when he gets sacked. Just don't fumble. You know, if they can shut down DK Metcalf and CJ can limit his fumbles to 1, maybe the Niners can win. But I don't think they're going to win this game. I don't think they're going to win it. Sorry. And you know what? Do they even want to win it? I mean, a lot of these players, sure, they'd like to win a game, but they definitely don't want to have surgery and spend the whole offseason rehabbing because of the injury they got in a game that didn't matter. And then Shanahan, yeah, he wants to win, but he also wants a quarterback. Does he? How good is his game plan? I'm curious to see if this is going to be the closest we see to NFL tanking.
Hey, Grant, do you think that Brandon Ayuk is even injured? Or are they just shelving him?
I don't know. It seems like everyone's getting shelved right now except for George Kittle.
Yeah.
God forbid something happens to George Kittle in this game. Because I will give such an I told you so to Kyle Shanahan if that happens.
We'll wrap the caution tape around you.
Serious. Thank you. All right, pick a winner. Do we have to pick a winner? Is anyone picking the Niners to win this game? If so, why?
Yeah.
Why? Explain it.
I'm just thinking that, I don't know, it's one of the biggest rivals that I've ever witnessed as a 49ers fan. Like, the Seahawks are a team that if we're going to try and beat a team, it should be the Seahawks. It's somebody I've always wanted to watch them beat. We're not at their home, which helps a little bit. I know that whenever they're home, even though the 12s aren't there, it gives us a little bit of an edge. And I do think that if Kittle comes out and has a great game, if, you know, the other pieces come together the way that we know they can, maybe the D is going to really try and impress Robert Saleh, like I was saying before. I think they could squeak one out. So I'm going to say the 49ers.
I'm 9 years old because every time you say the D, I giggle a little bit. Sorry. The D. Maverick, what do you think? The D.
If I have to pick, I would go. I think the Niners could, just for the reason that players don't tank. I know that's the whole thing is a lot of players don't have much to play for. But as we've said, there's so many guys on free agent deals, and the ones that aren't sitting out can't put out bad takes. So it's not like they're just going to go out there and not put out their best effort. So I think that they can win. I think Seattle wins just because I think they have a better roster at this moment in time. But with all the guys out for the 49ers, it's going to be tough without some of those guys. But I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout.
Wow. You don't think it's going to be a blowout? Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
I got Seattle. I got Seattle here. I don't trust CJ Beathard. He's 2-9 in his career. He has no Trent Williams this game, so you have Justin Scuor out there with Mike McGlinchey. It's Seattle. They're fighting for a 2 seed, and they're playing at the same exact time that the Saints are playing. So they're not going to let their foot off the gas pedal one bit throughout the whole 4 quarters there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm picking Seattle. I want to address Maverick real quick about the tanking thing. You're right. Players don't tank. But football is a very violent game. And, like, You can't just play 100% Maverick. You have to play 110% to play football.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about is like, the extra effort players give where they jump on piles and stuff like that. You're not going to see Niners jumping on piles. You're not going to see a lot of JOP players in this game because it's like, yeah, I've got to do my job. I can't dog it on film, but at the same time, I definitely don't want to get a high ankle sprain. Can't have a high ankle sprain in week 17.
There's so many of those guys on the roster that just they go hard the whole time. Like Fred Warner, if he does play the full game, they could.
That's
honestly,
the defense.
Yeah. I the reason why I don't think it's a blow is because I think the defense plays really well. I think the offense might have trouble getting into double digits, but I think they hold Seattle under 24.
Yeah, maybe this is going to be the week that Mike McGlinchey rises up and finally fights back. Maybe he's been waiting. Do it, Mike. Prove us wrong, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look big.
Let me chime in on that one. I didn't get to pick on that.
Go ahead. Yeah, I just cut you off. My bad.
So the Vegas has it as a 3-point spread. That's pretty close, and the money line is 1.4. That gives us like a 1 in 3 chance. Those guys are usually right. They're seeing something. I live in Seattle. I watch them. They're good, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it might be a good bet to take that line on the Niners. I wouldn't be surprised because of what you said, Grant. Those guys get in there and they have to play.
Yeah, the reason for 49ers optimism is always their defense. It's so good. And they have Robert Saleh, who still hasn't gotten that head coaching job yet. He needs one more good performance. And he got shredded by DK Metcalf. Shredded. Yeah. And the thing about Saleh is when he gets shredded by someone, he usually figures it out eventually. This is going to be his 4th time facing this kid. He got Kyler the 4th time. I'm expecting to see another one of these Robert Saleh kind of genius performances, and it'll give the Niners a chance. So that's why CJ just hold on. 2 hands. What, Chrissy?
Yeah. I was going to say, that meme that went around after the Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and it's like, and I took that personally. That's going to be Robert Saleh 100%. Yes.
That's right. What DK Metcalf did in that early, and I took that personally, and I needed to shut him down. And that way, when he goes, because he needs to have all of his, dot all of his I's and cross all of his T's. So when he goes to one of these interviews and they say, yeah, but you couldn't shut down DK Metcalf. Well, I did. Week 17. Yeah, but you couldn't shut down DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. Yeah, actually, I did. So he needs this, and I have a feeling it's going to be Saleh at his best.
Yeah, it'll be close.
Okay, is quarterback the Niners' biggest need? We think it is, but think it through. Is it really the Niners' biggest need? Is Jimmy Garoppolo the worst starter on the team? Is he worse than Tom Compton? Whoever the center is. I'm not leading you into an answer here. Kev, maybe you start this one. Is quarterback the biggest need on the team? It's an important position.
The biggest need for the 49ers is to get some new people in charge in Santa Clara County and bring them back home, because that is unprecedented what happened to them. And if you think about, just think about living like that, getting kicked out of your own state, your own home, and having to go through that. We need some new leadership there. Bring them back. Get them back in Levi's. That's what they need.
Maybe they should move back to San Francisco. Maybe they should have never left. Leo.
I'm going to say, it's the biggest need, because when you have a quarterback that can do more than what Jimmy Garoppolo can, or CJ Beathard, or Nick Mullins, that's going to fill holes and get the team to a more competitive level sooner. I saw Kevin giggle when I said fill holes. That was unintended. Unintended. But that's just what it does when you have a quarterback so the Houston Texans, they're in a clear rebuild, but having a guy like Deshaun Watson is going to make that rebuild more about 3 years than the 5-year window. And right now, with this 49ers team, you're not expecting the amount of injuries to come on in 2021. So they're probably not going to pick this low for a while.
I'd say their biggest need and as long as something hasn't happened while I wasn't looking, their biggest need is left tackle until Trent Williams signs that contract. Because as we saw what Justin Scuor did against Green Bay, and we're going to see this weekend if he improves any better.
Oh my God, yeah.
That could be a problem, because there's no left tackles that really jump off the page, at least in round 1 to me. And if they don't get Trent Williams, I don't like any of the free agents. I think Alejandro Villanueva, the Steelers left tackle, is the best one. And even he has his problems. So if they don't get Trent Williams, good luck to whichever quarterback is back there.
Good answer.
Yeah, kind of bouncing off of what Mav said. I honestly think that, yeah, you could have any quarterback you want in that position. You could have a Tom Brady, you could have an Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter who you have. That's a great quarterback. A Jimmy Garoppolo in there, because look, we had Jimmy Garoppolo the season before, and I know everybody's sitting here saying Jimmy Garoppolo's a problem, blah, blah, blah. They weren't saying that the season before. So now all of these people are coming out just because he had that bad game in the beginning. Yes, he did, and then he got injured. Okay, now it's all his fault that Nick Mullins sucks, that CJ Beathard sucks, that we don't trust our quarterback. It's his fault that he got injured. It's his fault that his ankles aren't that great. It's always on Jimmy. But the real issue is the offensive line. That's who we need to go after. That's what we need. That's what we need to address, because you could have any quarterback you want. If that line is not fixed, they are destroyed.
Yeah, I'm starting to lean this way too. Like I've been trying to run Jimmy Garoppolo out of town forever because it's fun. I mean, come on, look at that. Look at that face. Why would you not root against that guy? But honestly, he's not as bad at his job as McGlinchey is at his. I mean, he's better at his job than Brunskill is at his. Like, he's a top 20 quarterback in the NFL, which is not what you really want. And of course, Leo, like, anytime you can get a future Hall of Fame quarterback, you do that. If Deshaun Watson's sitting there, yeah, that's the, even if quarterback isn't your biggest need, that's the first thing you get. But I don't see that. I don't see Deshaun Watson hanging out. I mean, you might say that Zach Wilson is the next Deshaun Watson. I don't think he is.
They are.
Option.
There's a way
He's
they
not
are.
going to be there. So it seems to me that if the best you can do is Kyle Trask or Jimmy Garoppolo, I like Kyle Trask a lot. As we saw last night, he can't overcome a weak supporting cast. I don't know that Justin Fields could or Trey Lance could. So maybe the answer here is improve the offensive line, because they've gotten 2 quarterbacks hurt this year, not just 1, 2. Improve the defensive backfield because no one's under contract for next year. Maybe the answer is take a quarterback in round 2 and keep Jimmy for 1 more year, or get rid of Jimmy and bring in someone like Mitchell Trubisky. But you could argue that really they need to be – You could argue that they really need to be spending their first pick on offensive line and not quarterback.
Why would you ever take a quarterback in round 2 when you get the 5 years with round 1, but 4 in round 2? Like that.
Well,
that just
no one
make
plays
sense.
5 years anymore. That's
Well,
the
you know what
issue
I mean,
that's
though.
coming
If they're
around
good,
in the
though.
NFL.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Grant.
If you get a good quarterback, you want to have him for 5 years, not 4. Like,
that's what Baltimore did with Lamar, and it's what Green Bay did last year with Jordan Love. Here's the thing with Kyle Trask, and then real quick, Leo, you'll go. His stock is down now, but it's going to go up after he goes to the Senior Bowl because he's going to be the best quarterback there. So I actually think he's probably going to sneak into the first round because teams reach for quarterbacks every year. It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks.
Yep.
Leo, what were you going to say?
So your famous video of your Jimmy Garoppolo impression, what were you doing? Patting the football, patting the football, patting the football.
Right.
So that's kind of the issues with the quarterbacks for the 49ers now. And I'm not going to say that's why they got hurt, but that doesn't help your offensive line. The offensive line is basically make up for something that's ugly. I probably worded that wrong, but they get the blame for the quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is a top 20 quarterback, but he does have quite a bit of limitations, and I see him more as it feels great when things are great, not necessarily, hey guys, come on, I'm going to take you guys to the championship. This is on me. He was last year 13-3. He was a product of Kyle Shanahan calling up hell of a play design, second rushing offense in all of the NFL, and a great defense that basically Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have to do anything in the playoffs and still got to the Super Bowl. He didn't have to do anything. He was bad in the playoffs.
Still better than Mike Person, though. Still better than their right guard. Still better than their center. I mean, maybe he was worse than Mike McGlinchey, but Mike McGlinchey's gotten worse since then. I mean, I would love to replace Jimmy Garoppolo. I just feel like, geez, if you bring in another guy, even if it's someone you really like Zach Wilson, how long is he going to last behind Mike McGlinchey? I mean, or is he just going to have to run for his life the whole season? Chrissy, what do you think?
Also, how do you know that guy's not going to turn into a Johnny Manziel and big flop? You never know what you're getting with a rookie.
And Jimmy's kind of, with Jimmy. I mean, his record is his record. He's been on the team. Yep.
If they get the chance to get Zach Wilson, I think they have to do it. I don't think they get the chance, but I think you can't pass up Zach Wilson and the other
Trey Lance as well.
Yeah, I really like Trey Lance too. I'm just worried that also he would not make it if they're in that 15 range. I think they could have a much better chance of trading up to get Trey Lance. And I'm not as concerned with the lack of collegiate experience as most, because I don't think he's going to start that first year. I think he's going to kind of do what Jordan Love did this year and sit and learn.
That's the thing. I'm not convinced that any of these quarterbacks in this draft, aside from Lawrence, would be better than Jimmy next year. I mean, Zach Wilson, very intriguing. That's quite a jump in speed of play. He's going from the speed of the game is at BYU to the NFL. He's ready to start week 1. He should. If Mahomes sat for a year, I think Zach Wilson should sit for a year. So that's even more reason the Niners should be like, well, unless we get Matt Stafford, how can we really justify
Matt Stafford?
And even Matt Stafford, like, how many losing seasons has that guy had?
His face is bigger than mine.
It's
the Lions. It's the Lions. It's the Lions with Matt Stafford.
Yeah. This is
the Lions.
NBA.
I mean, I think Matthew Stafford is one of these quarterbacks who is paid a lot and is probably top 10 fringe. And I don't think you can win with quarterbacks like that.
I'll take top 10 fringe over top 20 fringe any day of the week.
That's why you're not in charge of quality control, and Grant is.
No, what I'm saying with Stafford is he's so expensive. You need him to play
cheaper
like
than
Russell
Jimmy.
Wilson, but he's playing like Matthew Stafford, and that's a big you could pay Russell
cheaper
Wilson
than Jimmy
in a year. You could pay Russell Wilson in a year, and he would still win 10 games a season because he actually is special. Stafford is like special minus. That's all I'm saying. Special minus.
But if they get Stafford, he's cheaper than Jimmy. As far as if you look at the dead cap and break down the contracts,
they can cut
Stafford
Jimmy with no money.
You don't get it, but it's fine. I could explain another time.
Let's move on. Do the 49ers hold their quarterbacks to too high of a standard? And I say that because we got Leo down here saying, the Niners just need a quarterback who's a Hall of Famer. I mean, they just need a guy who can protect himself in the pocket and make plays outside of structure like Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson. And, I think Niner fans like that. I mean, Jeff Garcia was like that to an extent. Steve Young was definitely like that. Joe Montana is the greatest of all time. I feel like Niner fans just have no patience for B-level quarterback play. Is that fair? Or maybe they do because Jimmy's B and they liked him until recently. What do you think?
And we like Jeff Garcia. He's like B+.
Yeah, what'd you think? Am I being too hard on Niner fans here? Big face?
No, I don't think so at all. No. We expect high-level stuff.
A little spoiled?
Yeah, we are spoiled. We've got, we've got the rings. We grew up seeing these guys play. And we're not ready for
I hated Alex Smith when I was a Niner fan. He was just not good enough. Hated him.
Yeah, he wasn't. No,
and now I appreciate him now, but back then I was like,
give us Cap. Give us Cap.
It seems like what people want is Kaepernick back. That dude had a strong arm. That dude could run. Bring him back. Who's to say Trey Lance is better than him? Leo, are we being too hard on Niner fans here? Stick up for Niner fans.
Yeah, well, you look at Joe Montana, Steve Young, so that standard's always going to be what Niner fans will call it, gold standard. When you have two Hall of Famers go back-to-back like that, and then even Jeff Garcia, like his name was just brought up, he was a multi-Pro Bowler quarterback. He had multiple 30-touchdown seasons as well. So I would say just an above-average quarterback. That's all the fans really need as far as how this roster is. Jimmy's average, so I think that's why he gets a lot of hate towards him when he's not a bad quarterback by any means. He's just average.
He has the same career passer rating as Jeff Garcia, though. So
it's different NFL.
Interesting. Maverick.
I think it's a balance of jealous and wanting something, because myself haven't seen a lot of great quarterbacks at the 49ers. Kaepernick and Jimmy Garoppolo are the best ones I've seen in my coherent lifetime. So I've wanted to see a lot of quarterbacks better than Jimmy Garoppolo and haven't got the chance to see that. But I understand the history of all those great quarterbacks, and I know people have that gold standard, like Leo said. And I'm all with Leo. If there's a chance to upgrade, I think they have to do it. But I just don't know if anyone upgradable will be readily available. But there has been some criticism that is unfair and some criticism that is fair for Garoppolo.
Chrissy, what do you think?
Yeah, I somewhat agree with him. And so I also, for the last 10 years, I've been a fan. So I wasn't a fan of the 49ers. I didn't even really watch football up until the last 10 years. So I didn't have that whole winning mentality of what it feels like to have a Joe Montana or a Steve Young. And so for me, I'm pretty happy with what we've had since I've been a fan. I look at other teams and I'm like, okay, aside from this year, at least we didn't have a Baker Mayfield, right? Like it could be a lot worse. And I think that people just get their noses up in the air and they get used to a certain standard of what they think is going to be for the 49ers and this organization. But at the end of the day, the quarterback isn't the only position that matters. It's a team sport. And I'm happy with having an average quarterback as long as the defense plays really well. As long as all of our offensive players are out there. You know, we have a guy like Brandon Ayuk that's out there really using his arms and catching everything. And it doesn't just sit on the quarterback. So it annoys me when fans point at Jimmy Garoppolo as the issue. And, you know, and they are getting a little too spoiled about what they have in the past, because at the end of the day, like, we have a decent quarterback that brought us to a Super Bowl. You don't have anything to complain about.
That's not necessarily the first thing you need to replace, especially when the offensive line is terrible. That's a good point. I think the thing with the Niners and their quarterbacks is I feel like Niner fans are a little too quarterback focused. Like, they look at football as an individual sport, because the Niners basically invented the quarterback. I mean, they got the greatest of all time and Steve Young. And so, like, every time the Niners win, the quarterback gets all the credit from the fan base. And every time the Niners lose, the quarterback gets all the blame.
Did you say greatest of all time, Steve Young?
No, Montana.
Steve Young, Joe Montana.
You said greatest.
I misspoke. I meant to say Montana. I mean, the Niners got Montana. It's like the Yankees and Babe Ruth. I mean, there's a lot of pride there. But I feel like the Niner fans, like, when they have a guy who's young, he's like they treat him like he's Joe Montana Jr. I mean, up until about 10 months ago, Jimmy Garoppolo was Jesus Christ in Santa Clara. And then when there's some cracks start to show, they drop you so fast. So I feel like Niner fans, they're not as salty as like Philly fans, but they're fickle. And they'll love you one day and they will hate you 2 hours later if you throw 2 picks. So it is a pretty high standard. I gotta say, it's a high standard.
Welcome to Silicon Valley. Yeah.
Welcome to Silicon Valley. But you know, I'm a victim of it, because I just, once the quarterback's making $25 million a year, that I just can't see anything good with him. He better be.
That's middle of the road now, though. That's
I don't care. That's a lot of money.
Great.
It's not your money. But you watching out for Jed's money now?
I don't want to talk about the virtues of Kirk Cousins while he's making $25 million a year. No, not good enough. Sorry, Kirk. Face. All right, let's keep going. Most underrated 49ers player of 2020. Chrissy, you start us off.
I mean, okay, I know he hasn't been out there as much as I'd like to see, but this is somebody that I even said at the beginning of the season I thought it was going to have a really great season, was Emmanuel Mosley. And I just think that what he's learned over the past year, whether Richard Sherman's been out there on the field or not, or been with him in the locker room, I think that he has gained so much knowledge at that position from somebody who was really great at it. Yeah, he's taken, he's gone down a little bit. And I know people look at Richard Sherman and they're like, Uncle Sherm's old now, whatever. But I think he passed on a lot of really great knowledge to Emmanuel Mosley. And we see it just in the way that he understands his position and the way that, he's out there and he's hyping people up. And I think he's going to be this incredible presence out there. So I think he doesn't get as much credit as he should for the amount of play that he's been out there and what he's done for the team. So I'm giving it to Manny Fresh.
I like that answer. How about you, Mav?
I think to start the year, Jeff Wilson Jr., I remember when we were doing our roster predictions, it was possible he was the odd man out if they went JaMychal Hasty instead for that 4th string running back. And I think he's a top 2 running back on the roster, and I think he should be a top 2 running back next year as well. And then my other one, my dark horse guy, is Mitch Wishnowski, because a couple of reasons. He has 25 fair caught punts. We've seen the 49ers have not been the best special teams coverage unit since Mostert's been a full-time offensive player, and 23 punts inside the 20 and 38 touchbacks on 62 kickoffs. I think no one's really talked about Mitch Wishnowski because the last king memory was that week 1 punt block, but it could be worse. And that's my underrated, because I think people think he's a nothing. I think he's a top 15 punter. Worth that 4th round pick? Probably not, but
hey, way to give Mitch Wishnowski props, because I definitely don't. Leo, who is the most underrated 49ers player of 2020?
I'm going to say Deebo Samuel, because when you look at Brandon Ayuk, he's been getting the praise. If you look all over Twitter, wide receiver one, and we kind of forget about Deebo Samuel and what he does. I would even say that he helps out the run game more than Raheem Mostert, because having him on those jet sweeps, just crossing linebackers' face, DB's face, you don't know if he's getting the ball or not, because if he does, he's probably going to go for 20 yards up the field. So he's just a big part of this team, but yet he gets less love than Brandon Ayuk, who's a rookie, and he gets less love than George Kittle, and he gets less love than Raheem Mostert when it comes to the run game.
Kev.
Yeah, so I think that the most underrated player, I'm going to have to go up to the front office. I think that your work as quality control coach, Grant, is probably the most underrated thing this year. And everyone knows that you wanted them to draft Pat Mahomes instead of Solly Thomas. And if they'd just listened to you, imagine.
I never get the credit I deserve. Thank you so much, Kev. It's about time.
Yeah.
I got a name. I'm serious with this one. I mean, guy gets his props, but I don't think enough. Kerry Hyder Jr. Everyone's like, yeah, hey, good story. Kerry Hyder really stepped up. No. He should be in the Pro Bowl. And the reason he's not in the Pro Bowl is because he's not related to the Bosas. If he were John Bosa Jr. or if he was Frank Bosa, dude would be in the Pro Bowl right now. I mean, hold on. He's not as good as Nick Bosa. But Nick Bosa last year had 9 sacks and 25 quarterback hits in 16 games. Kerry Hyder in 15 games has 8.5 sacks and 18 quarterback hits. Not as good as Nick Bosa, but not bad. I mean, this dude is in the running for Niners MVP on defense. That's how good he is, and no one really talks about him like that. He should be in the Pro Bowl. I don't really know, but at least he should be he should get a plaque. He should get a plaque. Yeah. Good job, Kerry. We appreciate you. Thank you. and a pin. I think he should get a pin. So Kerry Hyder. What about the most? Hold on, I can't say it before the banner. Who is the most overrated 49ers player of 2020? Kev, start us off.
The most overrated player? Man, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
All right, we're going to come back to you. Chrissy, you start us off.
I'm going with Kendrick Bourne. I just feel like the amount of effort that guy put in over the offseason, the way that he's always on his Instagram story showing us what he's doing every minute of the day, he's always grinding, whatever. For him to put in that much effort and to not have, a catch percentage like he did last season. Like he went down, I think 4% this season. He's not playing as well. He's a little too cocky and he's not performing. So I'm going to say Kendrick Bourne.
Good call.
That's a good answer.
Are we saying their expectations from the beginning of the season or at this moment, are they overrated?
I don't know, however you want to go with it, Maverick. I don't want to box you in.
Oh, because I was just thinking Armstead or McGlinchey because preseason everyone thought that they were – I mean, I don't think anyone thought Armstead would fall off this far or McGlinchey would fall off this far, but I think people were comfortable with McGlinchey at right tackle and thought they didn't have to address that position. And although I think the majority wanted to go the route of Buckner rather than Ward and Armstead, they were still comfortable and thought Armstead could get 7.5, 8 sacks this year, and that didn't happen. So I think that backfired.
Yep.
Well, for most overrated player, I'm going to say Jordan Reed. On this aspect, when we looked at that signing, we thought he was going to be the best tight end 2 in all of the NFL, but we look at the previous weeks, and he's about 0 for 12 when targeted on third down. He seems like he's mentally not in the game, always throwing his helmet, throwing his hands up.
Yep.
Yeah, I understand the ball placement's not there, but there is times where you have opportunity to reel it in and make a really good play for tight end. We haven't seen that since about week 3 against the Giants. So he's been just going through the motions. He's not that much great of a run blocker. Makes you miss Kittle a ton when he's not out there. So I would just say Jordan Reed just because we thought he was going to be electric as a tight end too, and he hasn't been that over the past 10 weeks.
I like that answer because he still gets no criticism. Niner fans still like the idea of Jordan Reed, even though the reality of Jordan Reed isn't what it was 5-6 years ago. What you had your hand up, Kev. It's your turn. What do you think? Who is the most overrated player on the Niners right now or of this season?
Well,
who deserves more criticism?
First of all, quiet Sharma in the comments. I don't like that. It's a tie between the denim tuxedo, who's out of here now, right? We miss him. Dante, love you, but it just didn't work out. Go join the soap opera, and then I think also Shanahan because ever since the small JPEG hat went away. Like it's been a different story.
Ooh. Yeah, so, he still hasn't gotten his offense together. He has excuses, but so does Salah. My name for the most overrated 49er of 2020 is Javon Kinloff. And not because he's terrible, but I feel like Niner fans really give him like stellar marks for his rookie year. They want to like him. He's had a couple plays, but honestly, he didn't make much of an impact this rookie year. He's a good run defender. He's not a pass rusher. And I think that's he's kind of being looked at as someone who has some potential in that arena. He didn't play in this last week, and I didn't notice. They were just fine without him. Contavious Street seems to do everything that Javon Kinlaw does, and people are still talking about Kinlaw like he might be the next, I don't know, DeForest Buckner one day. I don't see that happening. But he's got a knee injury now that's going to take him out of 2 games, and that was flagged at the combine. I'm going to say he's a little overrated. Maybe he could prove me wrong, but I don't expect much from Mr. Kinlaw. Sorry. Final question. Prediction. Who's going to be the breakout player of 2021? Some guys that were the breakout player this year, I would have to say not Warner. I thought he broke out in 2019. Greenlaw. Greenlaw became a starter this year and showed that it was the right move for the Niners to get rid of Cohn. Kerry Hyder was a breakout player. Guys like that. Who do you think will be the breakout player in 2021 who hasn't really been given that opportunity yet? Whoever wants to start can start, because this is a tough question.
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you're going to be the breakout player in 2021, Grant, because you're going to get promoted to the assistant to the AGM of the San Francisco 49ers, and you're going to hire Dr. Anthony Fauci to cure the high ankle sprain, and we'll be in the Super Bowl.
I'm going to fix the high ankle sprain epidemic in Santa Clara. That would be pretty good. But although I felt like I broke out this year, I appreciate you, Big Kev. Hey, Leo, who's it going to be?
You would consider Brandon Ayuk breaking out this year, right?
Yeah, I think he was pretty freaking good this year, man.
He's on the hurdle.
Fair enough.
But I mean, if he goes for 1,500 yards next year, that qualifies. And if that's what you expect, that counts. That you could go with that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go with that. I think he's
Okay.
going to go for 1,400 all-purpose yards next year, and he's going to have somewhere around 8 to 10 touchdowns. So that would be considered 40. When was the last time they've had that from the wide receiver position? 1,400 all-purpose, probably Terrell Owens. Mm-hmm. So he's going to go up there, and I think he's just going to kill it next year. I would figure he's probably going to have a lot better quarterback play than a bunch of games with Mullins, and then one game with C.J. Beathard that only gave him 15 yards.
Yeah,
good call.
The Trey Lance to Brandon Ayuk connection is going to be popping next year. Maverick.
I think I say Jeff Wilson Jr. for every answer, so I'll keep it different. I'll go with.
You can say Jeff Wilson if you think he's going to start 16 games and go for 1,400 yards. That's a good answer.
I don't think any 49er running back is going to start 16 games because I think just the way they're used, there's bound to be an injury. But I think Kevin Givens, I think it has a chance to take another step. And I think with Javon Kinlaw having a full preseason, hopefully next year, that will improve Kevin Givens as well, because he won't always be the best defensive tackle if Javon Kinlaw really takes the next step. Then Kevin Givens gets a couple more chances to make some plays. So I'll say he'll break out, maybe not break out to the level of defensive tackle 49er fans are used to, but I think going from undrafted free agent to a quality starter is pretty good.
Who was that 64 who had a couple sacks or sacks?
Barrett, Alex Barrett.
Yeah,
Chrissy, solid talking like now. We got to wrap up. Who do you say?
Okay, well, if Jimmy Garoppolo gets the chance, I'm saying he's going to have a breakout season just because he's got to prove himself or he's gone. But I also think wide receiver-wise, I'm going Debo. I think he's just going to come in. He'll have hopefully a better quarterback out there. He's going to have an insane season.
Good answer. I'm going with Jalen Hurd. He's going to put it all together like Jason Verrett, and he's going to slide into that number 3 receiver job that Kendrick Bourne's been holding down, and he's going to really play well next year. Jalen Hurd, guys, I got to run. Solid's talking now. Thank you guys so much. This was a hell of a show. Leo, good luck in all your future endeavors. Take care.
Send me your location tomorrow, me and Chrissy, okay?
All right.